So thank you very much for the survey today. If I get a chance, I'm going to update and edit this video, but in a much shorter form with a focus on a single issue and anything that might be affecting it and some additional information. But here is the unedited version, and in the email there are all the recommendations and actions. I've used AI to do it, just makes it quicker and also more accurate. Less is dropped through, and I quickly read through it to check that it all makes sense. But I will double check before sending the final version. Note, I do the data loggers when I send off the final version. So thank you very much, and have a listen. We were just discussing that there weren't any damp issues when you lived here yourselves, and that you said you were, was it 2022 or something? Was it?
We moved out, yeah, so we were here 2017 to 22, so what's that, 5 years?
Yeah.
And we basically renovated the whole house,
okay.
But none of the fabric changed. It was only decoration apart from in this space here, in the kitchen, in the, what would you call it, the rear extension.
Okay.
So we replaced the windows for wooden sash windows, and we've got, when we go up you'll see we've got a bathroom fan that's on a different circuit, but generally we didn't have any sort of condensation issues with the bathroom, no mould or anything like that up there. So this rear extension kitchen used to be a solid wall at the back with a window, and a wooden floor in the sort of bit towards the main house, and then the rear section where the kind of kitchen area was tiled. So there was nothing on this wall at all, no furniture on the what's that called, the external wall, should we say.
So the kitchen was along here?
No, there was nothing here. There was a fireplace here, an old fireplace, and then there was an island sort of jutting out into the middle of the room, and at that point it was the kitchen down the rear end. So this was almost like a little seating area, should we say.
Okay.
So the kitchen units, if I remember, so an island here, and then along the wall next to the next door of property was high and low level units.
Okay.
Low level units along the kind of garden wall, should we say, where the sink was. I can't remember the slide.
Is this an actual extension here, or is it?
Not from us.
The original. Oh, okay.
It's like, you know, like I don't know what
back addition, they're called.
Yeah, they all have it. So
yeah, it's part of the original design normally. But what I can see your neighbour's got is like probably what, I don't know, it's either an extension or I'll see when I'm outside. But it could be the gardener's toilet, as it were. It's
I haven't been in their house. I feel like that might be their kitchen or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Okay, so when we took the high level, not original, but when we moved in, we had that there was the high level kitchen units, and when we took them off, did we take them off? And the tiles, we took tiles off. We started getting this. What was that thing I saw on the website? Interesting. What do you call it? Inflorescence.
Oh, fluorescence.
Yeah.
What for calcium sulfate salts? So it's like to crystallise.
Yeah, and
salts.
we couldn't stop that. We were like, oh my gosh, and it hadn't been there when the tiles were there. Obviously, it had been
hidden by the tiles. Essentially.
So when we took that off, we just couldn't. There was nothing we could do to bring that in. Anyway, so we had a builder in who opened this up and put in damp-proof. They didn't put in a membrane, but they put in
damp-proofing cream, replacement plaster.
Like plasterboard, like damp-proof plasterboard or something.
Oh, I know. Yes,
they just used.
This is hollow then, is it? Yeah.
But this wall wasn't affected by
any of the... Okay. So this is the main issue down here.
Yeah, but see, so Simon, these are all. So this effectively this wall was opened up, wasn't it? So this, and we had this pretty soon after it got put in, where things are popping, and the
when you were here though.
Yeah. So we had this sort of work done in would it be November 2020, and then certainly before we moved out in the end of 22, this had sort of come off a couple of times, where the contractor had said, "Oh look, there's no issue," and I was thinking, but you know, it's
I think I know what your problem is. It's going to be simple to solve, but I'll have a look at all the other things first and not jump to a conclusion.
I'm glad to hear that. Anyway, so that was the thing on this one.
You've got mould down there.
It's just been popping since before, so obviously you can see the salts there. That's just been popping.
That's blistering from calcium sulfate. So this white powder is calcium sulfate, which is a key ingredient in cement, and it will dissolve in water, and it will come to the surface a bit like table salt will do, and it's benign. It's not a problem, but it blisters, and it's obviously blistering behind it. So I'll get to the solution, but it's relatively easy. I mean, with a wall like this, you probably will have to replaster it, but you want to deal with the damp source first, and then look at the other issues. But it's really important the fact that you've got mould down there. I mean, you may not like it, but actually, where am I seeing mould? There, the brown. So that there.
Yeah. So that's interesting. There wasn't mould when we were here. It was only the popping.
It looks like you've got some penetrating damp as well. So you've got the yellow brown discoloration there. I'll have a look on the outside. Have you got painted brick, have you, on the outside? Or is it render?
No, it's painted brick, but we haven't touched that since we moved in.
Okay, but I think there's an issue there, so I'm going to have a look at that.
Yeah. Do you know what, when I was looking on your website and I saw lots of different things you were saying could be the cause, I'd asked for a picture down the side, and the tenant has stored, this table with pots and stuff, and then we had an old plastic storage box that we had put really close, and then there were tiles rested up, so I don't know whether part of this issue was all of that, but see, even here at high level we're getting that.
So it's got yellow staining, so you'll get a combination of factors, but the primary issue, and I'm just looking through that window there and seeing, the primary issue is the painted brick. Ideally, brick shouldn't be painted, but if they are painted, there should be a permeable paint, so like lime paint, so that it allows the water to be absorbed and then released back out again. But if you start going semi-impermeable or impermeable, then you just have to keep on top of it, and any cracks or gaps have to be redone regularly.
There's been cracks since we moved in, so probably you're going to,
So what happens, I'll try and explain it using something, but if say metal's impermeable, if you've got a gap, then what happens is the water gets in behind the metal and it gets trapped, and it can't. Some of it will come back out, but most of it will go inside, and that's what you get. But the fact that you've got, so obviously you've got a dehumidifier running, which is great. I'm wondering, so tenanted properties tend to use things different, tenants use things differently than owners, and you'll find that they probably don't use the kitchen extractor fan as much as you would do.
Well, sorry, one other issue which is the issue that's, so when the tenant moved in, there was a little bit of bubbling there, so that they were kind of old, the old, should we call it, historic issues. But the reason why this has come about as a new issue is, I can't actually smell it at the moment, but she said that there's a damp smell coming from here.
Okay, so a damp smell essentially means mould, because water doesn't smell itself. It's the mould that people are smelling.
Right.
And you only get mould where you get excess vapour.
Right.
and excess vapour is from insufficient ventilation
Okay.
and heat loss, but it's primarily caused by insufficient ventilation.
Interesting.
So
So I was panicking about if there's water getting in behind.
It'll be marginal. It'll be very, very small. It'll be no more water coming in through this wall than a baby's t-shirt drying.
Okay.
You know, it'd be too small to make much impact.
Interesting. Okay, so why is it taking that theory?
Yeah.
If we've got boiling pans of water and say the tenant's not using the extractor fan as much as ideally wouldn't you have mould up at top?
So you get
Why
mould.
would you have it in that, that wall?
Where is it specifically down here or something?
She's saying kind of when you smell, she's like.
I'll explain. So you get mould in 3 different scenarios.
Yeah.
One is where you've got excess vapour, so that's normally the primary issue.
Yeah.
But it's not always the only issue. The other one is where you get poor airflow, so you're not getting the heat from the radiators, and in cupboards you get poor airflow. And the other is areas of heat loss. So you only get mould where relative humidity goes above 85% for long periods of time. Relative humidity is a measure of air's capacity to hold moisture.
Yeah.
The warmer it is, the more moisture you can hold. Conversely, the colder it is, the less you can hold.
Yeah.
Till you get to what's called the dew point.
Yeah.
And the dew point is 100% relative humidity, where air can't hold any more moisture, so it comes out as water, and hence the dew on the ground in the morning. And so that's the dew point. So mould grows roughly 3 degrees centigrade above the dew point.
Yeah.
And I'll show you in a sec the dew point, and we'll look at the data loggers, and the data loggers will really help.
Yeah.
But so the three environments that mould grows. So where you've got poor airflow, where you've got a cold surface like an external wall, poorly insulated, and where you've got poor ventilation. So it's normally a combination of those 3 factors. So the primary issue being the lack of ventilation. In a well ventilated property, the internal vapour will constantly be replaced with external vapour, because you're blowing the internal air out and you're replacing it with the outside air.
Yeah.
The outside air can never have a dew point that's above the outside temperature. And so what's important is to make sure that you always keep the internal dew point below the outside temperature. And I use the data loggers to show that, and I've created this automatic website that you can upload the data, and it will compare your internal vapour levels to the outside and the outside temperature.
Okay.
So we'll have a look at that, but it's standard to find it within drawers and cupboards, and because of this airflow.
Yeah.
It's not
and we haven't actually, we haven't got any
insulation.
That's a good point. I don't know whether got any. We didn't put any insulation in.
But I would say the other
we
thing.
haven't got any ventilation under the plinths, so that's.
Yeah, but that'd be fairly typical. But what I'd say is the primary issue is the ventilation, and it's really important. I'll check the ventilation's working, but if you provide it, it should be used. It's great that you're using a dehumidifier, but whether it's used all the time.
No, I think I think that's. So I don't know whether that's going to affect the data logger thing, but yeah, she says she has that on all the time. Yeah.
Well, that's good. The other thing I'd say is once people see dampness in one area, they become more aware of other signs. So it may be that this dampness on the wall here is triggering thoughts. And it's all.
Well, no, because to be fair, it's hard.
But the other thing I will go on to say is that if you are getting water through the wall, it will get trapped in. So just as I was saying about the t-shirt, if a child's t-shirt was trapped behind there,
it will get
mouldy.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm smelling salts in here. I mean, washing salts, not. I mean, yeah, there is there is some mould, but there's a bit more mould there and down there. But it's not really smelling of mould, and that's the type of mould that you get. Well, I see it around showers, but that's not really relevant. I mean, I wouldn't say it's especially damp here compared to what I see in properties. There's no sign of blistering in there. Why is it red here?
Like, can you see the wood? Can you see the old?
Oh yeah.
That's completely wet, isn't it? Or was wet?
It's dry now, but it looks like it's leaked at some stage. I'd say there's a. It's difficult to see it because it's dry, but I wonder whether the overflow pipe has leaked in the past. I mean, so have you had work done here, or?
Well, I think they had suspected dishwasher leak or something at some point. I didn't realise that had come out, but maybe that was part of it. To have a look at that.
I would say that was a sink leak. Seem to describe it as a dark art, I suppose.
What I mean by that is I'm going. That's the top of here.
Seems to be okay now. I don't see any dripping. Well, I would say, I know what you mean by that. I would also say it's. My brother-in-law described the work I do as the science of the bleeding obvious. You definitely investigate the EWI, but it comes down to cost. Because the thing with that is, you've got to be aware that they're changing the rules for rental properties, and you have to have a certain level of EPC.
It's quite good because our windows are so good.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but.
Okay, but we don't really know what they'll.
Sorry, from a comfort level. I mean,
well, definitely.
I didn't realise external wall insulation was an option. So from a comfort level, that would definitely.
You've got you've got a slight overflow of your gutter there. Maybe not causing any water inside. So it's good to see a property when it's raining.
That's why I was so happy this morning.
You can see things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see. But I mean, the wall around here.
So just to give you context there, so this box was here. So that's where the sink is, and there was a tile leaning up against here. So
yeah, you want to keep those away. Ideally, you don't have that there. You encourage subfloor ventilation. We'll check the subfloor if we can do shortly. You've got a ponding here. So there's no natural drainage, which is not ideal, but it doesn't necessarily. I don't think it's contributing to what you're seeing there. But ideally, you cut a channel in there. You put an echo drain or similar to that. Mm-hmm. But that's a separate thing to what we're looking at here. Do you see how the water runs down here? And basically. So the rule of thumb is, as it's running down, it's collecting, and so you get the worst at the base of the wall. Okay. And that's why it's often thought of as being rising down somebody's sort of feet.
I know, not right. I'm wondering if waste pipe is that okay?
I don't think that. Well, yeah, I suppose ideally you should do.
But it's not raising. It's not.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time I'm like looking at this in this way, so I'm just
seeing. Yeah, I mean, ideally you'd have silicone around the pipe. Yeah. My only hesitation is that on a brick pipe it doesn't really matter. Brick wall it doesn't really matter, but it does when you've got paint. So yeah, you should do. Yeah.
But I definitely can smell that mould. Which is interesting because your nose must be really attuned because I can't smell the salt or anything. But I could smell the mould. And I know there is an issue with, as you say, the external, the paintwork or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess
so they may be connected, but there may be a ventilation issue as well.
Yeah, maybe.
So we'll look at that. But the two important things to know about mould. One is that it only grows in areas of high relative humidity. So that's where you get excess vapour relative to the outside, which could be partially caused by the wall allowing water through.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing to know is that despite what is written about in the press, mould is not the cause of allergies, or in very, very, very rare examples, specifically penicillin. It's the dust mites that you get in the same environment as the mould.
Okay.
And so it's not the mould is telling you it's a good sign that there's excess vapour,
Yeah.
but it's not the mould that you need to be worried about. It's the dust mites, and it's typically where you've got lots of carpets and that sort of material. And I very much doubt that they're going to have dust mites in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely that wall needs to be sorted out. But I suspect also there's excess vapour there. The dehumidifier will help.
Well, in terms of so my tenant's driver was just she knew there was a historic issue, and she's just helping us basically. She's not
Which is good. Yeah.
yeah.
It's not a help. It's not a dispute.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So I'll take it back.
Oh yes, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that tells me that there's sufficient airflow, but I will test it properly afterwards. So I'm just looking at the wall, and we're just yes, it's showing 100%. So it's got what's called PIR insulation, polyurethane, and then dry lined. It could be just behind the boiler, which is a sensible place to put it, or it could go the whole way.
I think it's the whole way.
It will marginally change the characteristics of the wall, but it is a party wall, so you're heated by your neighbour.
But that's where we had the problem with whatever that word is, not intermessing. What's the word?
Oh, with the salts.
The salts before, yeah.
With calcium sulfate salts.
Yeah.
Are your neighbours in? Should I knock on the door?
No, they're away. I do have a photograph. They said they're not having any
issues there.
issues with them.
But do you know which way their kitchen is? They got their kitchen there as well.
On the back of this wall.
So they got the sink and so on there.
No, they've got the cooker. And interestingly, they haven't got an extractor hood. But
So what I would say is that water in of itself isn't a problem with buildings. It's when you get rot and mould. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
so there's a little bit actually. That's the back of this wall, say. Yeah, so see
Yes.
that
Yeah.
that wallpapered corner, I think, is the wall
It's
that
the
we've
end,
just
yeah.
seen there, yeah. It's only showing the date it's set up. Looks like it didn't record.
Well, but then wouldn't that make it that side?
Oh, I
Shall we go
followed the
back?
instructions, the numbers are actually.
Let's just video that. Yeah. This time of year you can't really pick up much, but this is a infrared camera,
Oh, okay.
which is good for identifying zones of heat loss. I'm not really picking much up there. So this is how to
Okay.
open up. Yeah, go on.
So you're turning the key to unlock it.
Yeah,
That's unlocked.
whole way round.
And then, without touching the door, you're just pulling this handle
Yeah.
like that,
Okay.
and then leaving everything, and then all you're doing is pushing with that.
Ah.
So when you're pulling it back, you're pulling all the way back with this, and you're locking that in, and then letting go, and then just turn the key. Mind you, that doesn't actually feel like it's
You know,
on
that's
there.
not obvious, is it?
No, it's not.
Might be obvious to
No, it's not obvious at
to
all.
a German
It's not-
engineer.
It's not obvious at all.
When I saw it, my first thoughts are that that's condensation that you're getting there, because you've got metalwork in here, you've got metal beading down here, and you get this effect of the cold wall with the vapour from the kitchen that's causing it, and it's very common to get it in this area. You see, I would say with these modern doors, I would say, well, okay, I see it a lot. Maybe I don't see the places that don't have a problem, but
interesting. Okay.
so, but this is completely unrelated. So this comes from outside,
Yes, yeah.
and you can tell that because you're getting the staining.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm seeing some mould down there tells me that there is a vapour issue as well. So, and that would be the same vapour that's causing the condensation on the inside of this. Now, you've got a dehumidifier, and it's very rare that you'll have a problem with a dehumidifier, but is that relatively recent?
I think she's had that on since she told me in June that she had.
Okay, so but in June, but these pre-exist.
Oh, but yeah, we didn't have a dehumidifier when we lived here.
And you had problems there.
And we had problems there, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be an effect of the outside as well, but it doesn't look like it. I'd say that's condensation, just standard condensation. There's a couple of things. One is that obviously you've got a kitchen. The heating is probably not getting through to there because I can see the heating's there, and probably the extractor fan isn't necessarily always used, and maybe a bit of drying clothes when it's raining outside. Plus you've got the heat loss from the cat flap. But it's probably made worse by poor insulation around the metal support of the frame of the window. So
I don't think there's any insulation. I think as soon as you take that off, you see
metal
and stone.
Yeah. So there's a case for putting insulation. But I mean the starting point's always deal with the vapour, and you know whether you've got excess vapour because the internal dew point should always be below the outside temperature, unless it's really really cold. You can't stop it for a short time. But you have to remember that in London and the UK as a whole, it rains a lot, and when there's rain, when you're blowing air out, you're replacing it with air that's got vapour in it because it's raining outside. So the ventilation isn't as efficient in this country as it is in other countries, and so you need to ventilate more than you would do otherwise. Considering this type of insulation, it's called space therm, and it's thin, and that's and it wouldn't lose the profile of the door because it's very thin. Normal insulation is much thicker than this. So this is PIR is the type of insulation that you have behind the wall. That equivalent in PIR would be about 30 millimeters.
Wow.
Compared to about 5. So.
Oh, on the back of it, yeah. Space therm like that.
Yeah. So there is.
Space therm.
Space therm. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So this is after insulation. We'll know that because you'll see improvements in the heat retention.
Okay.
You can see insulation there. That's PIR there. There's a blue grit on top of the space therm to hold the plaster up. We've left the sensor under the floorboards, and it's showing 81% relative humidity. and that's fine for today. 81% to 19.3. We'll have a look at the data loggers, but it's been raining today, so you'd expect it to have relatively high subfloor humidity. It doesn't suggest you've got a leak. So we're back in the house and looking again at the damp zone. So you see how there's brown staining. That is a sign of water passing through building material. Funnily enough, the last place I went to had exactly the same issues, not to the same extent, but it gives you confidence that I'm reaching the same conclusions. As I said to you, if water is getting through the wall, then some vapour will be released, and that can cause high levels of surface relative humidity that can cause mould. However, I will also say that I suspect there is some level of excess vapour, and we know that there's excess vapour when we're looking at these areas. Look like that's condensation, and it looks different, even though you are getting a bit of discoloration there. If you look at the outside, I remember this complex system. No, you have to unlock it first. So on the outside there are gaps and cracks around there, but we're not getting the heavy staining. And there's a big crack there, and this has obviously got gaps and cracks. Well, maybe it's a combination of the two things. So excess internal vapour and the penetrating damp, and any water that's penetrating through creates heat loss, which increases the risk of condensation. But the primary cause of condensation is always the excess vapour on the inside. So using sensor blue, you want to press the sensor blue, and then you have to do plus and then pair, and in this case there are 3, because I think I've got a spare one on me, but we'll just take these ones and add another one and pair it. We'll soon find out which is which. I think the other's in my bag. Okay, done. And so we got these, and then you can see I've got a few loaded. So the way to find them actually is press no name and the find, and then find, and this one is B. So I'm going to call this B, and that's bathroom. So we name it bathroom, and in this case we're going to calibrate it, and we're going to put in I'll give it a little bit longer to come. I'll do okay for now. And then next one, and find it and locate. And so that's not showing. So let's do that one. Find it. So that is that one. So this one is kitchen. Okay, and that one is too high. So I'm just going to drop the minus. Just to add that plants absorb lots of water, but at least the water that you give a plant will come back out as vapour. To the same extent it's true of cats, but particularly plants. So you just use a dehumidifier constantly, 24/7. It's a good dehumidifier, this one. It looks like it's 20 litres per day. So they're now calibrated in line with this hygrometer, which has been calibrated itself with salt and water, nice. So this is now correct. What you need to do is just press the green number and that synchronizes it. Takes about a minute per week of data. The data is held on the data logger. The green line shows you how much it's synchronizing. Sometimes it will show you the number on there. And you need to do both. And if you can do them in a few days' time, I can add it to the report. In the short term, I will show you how to do it yourselves. So once it's downloaded, so I believe it was the kitchen, you're always pressing the green, you then press the calculator sign, press the export sign, export CSV or open CSV is one quicker step if it allows you to export CSV. And I'm sending it to myself. Okay. And then that's done, and then back, and then do the same for the other one. So pressing the green numbers, and it's loading. So the dampness starts about this level. So it could just simply be from the water that's getting trapped below that, and then passing down within the building material. It may be worth painting on, you could be getting some water from there. Actually, see what's happening during a rainstorm, but I can see water, looks like it passes through there. I'll have a look. But you can paint on some Storm Dry, which is a product that reduces the amount of water that comes through. It's not quite the same as painting it, but it's similar. So I think water's getting through there and passing down here and maybe finding its way in through gaps and cracks around here. I mean, it doesn't look too bad here. Oh yeah, you can see some of the micro cracking there. All these you can very small. Don't know whether it's focusing on that, but very small cracks. Put it like that. You can see the small gaps in here. All of these needs to be covered in paint. Essentially, you want to use a wire brush to take it back to brick as much as possible. If you can't go the full way back to brick, you then have to paint it, and you want to paint on as impermeable a coat as you currently have, or more impermeable if you don't know. And completely impermeable paints are made by Dulux and Zinza. Don't go for the sort of standard weather shield type semi-permeable paint. So you need to do the same again with the second one. You can do open CSV and you can save it into a file, or you can or you can send it by WhatsApp, but better to export it. Simon@dampsurveys.com. So I've put the kitchen one there next to the dampest area, and I'm going to put the one that was bathroom, I'm going to put that in behind the kitchen sink through here. So the bathroom one is actually just there in the kitchen sink now, under the sink. So all you need to do is be in this vicinity, and you can pick it up via Bluetooth. Just to say that this major crack here is entirely caused by salt blistering, in the same way as salts cause erosion around the seashore. It's the crystallization that's forcing the sections of plaster apart, and most calcium sulfate salts are, well, they're caused by dampness, but a large portion are caused by condensation. And you've got mould down there, which is why I believe that you have got an issue with condensation as well as the penetrating damp. So the kitchen data loggers there by the corner would be relatively cold and therefore give a better indication of surface relative humidity there.